Caroline Dowd Higgins. Tell me about your vision.
Harry, it's good to be with you. Thank you so much. Well, my vision is really all about empowering people. I've committed my career to helping individuals navigate their life and their career simultaneously. And Harry, I'll tell you, my vision is really to help people play to their strengths and enjoy their career, but also love their life because so many people invest so much in their careers that they actually miss their lives. And I'm one of those people that was a workaholic, but I have found happier and healthier ways now moving forward.
That's amazing. I want to dive deep into that, and I'll ask you, tell me more about that. But I wanted to share a story. I think
Yeah.
that goes perfectly with this. There's a mentoring opportunity we created. It's where we bridge the gap between United States and the Western world with the rest of the world, like Asian countries, South American countries, and a lot of places like that. And I'm from India, born and raised, and there's one of my friends that I've been mentoring, and I was talking to him, and he was in a conundrum, and he wasn't sure. And I asked him, "Hey, why are you doing this specific thing? Why did you leave this job, and why did you go to that?" It's like, "I want to
Yeah.
make money." I'm like, "So if you make money, what do you want to do?" Um, he's like, "Provide for my family, etc., etc." And he wasn't even clear. And I went more deeper into the thoughts, and he said, "Most people would give you the answer of, I want to travel and enjoy my life."
Yeah.
And I'm like, he wasn't in the conundrum where he has to choose between providing and going through that
Oh,
struggle where he can be financially stable, because we are very fortunate in the Western world to have the stability that we can make a lot of money very, very fast, but a lot of people don't have the skills, never been guided in the world, and
you're
they
right.
have no idea what to do and how to do it. And
Yeah.
he was one of those people. And uh, I can compare myself to back times, but that's where he was.
Mhm.
So how did you do it? How did you choose all those paths?
Yeah, I think experience is such a great teacher, Harry. It's fascinating to me. I have had a lot of different career journeys. I like to say that my career was circuitous. Your listeners won't know this, but I started my career as a musician, as an opera singer, and did that for about 10 years and loved it. But it was very difficult to earn a living and sustain it financially, that
Mm.
starving artist, feast to famine existence. So I had to really reframe and decide that singing and music was a part of who I am, but it wouldn't be how I would earn a living. And it took a while to grieve that loss because I was so deeply passionate about that. And from that moment on, I was really committed to finding something that helped me realize my other talents and my other strengths, but also to realize life is too short to suffer. There are bad bosses, there are bad jobs, things happen. I have a phrase that I created that the suckiness is real, but the suffering is optional. And I'm now on a journey to say that I know it's not perfect all the time, but I want to make choices that empower me, that help me do my best, but also give me the space to enjoy my life and my career at the same time.
Yeah, that's amazing. Um, where would you say that this vision came from?
Yeah, this vision came because I had the hard reality of my first career not working. And I say that it worked in that I was working, but when you're a performing artist, you have a gig here and then you have 6 weeks off and then you've got to find the next gig. So it wasn't consistent and it wasn't secure. And that was really heartbreaking for me because it was such a deep passion and I thought I would be doing that forever. So it was really reframing and understand it's never too late to try something new and try something different, and people reinvent throughout their lives. So that gift of failure actually opened up my eyes to realize try something new, try something different, and it's never too late to keep trying something new.
Hmm. And when you started to try something new, how did you get started in the
Yeah.
journey you're on today?
Well, it's actually informed my second act career as a career coach. So I worked with coaches because I was really stuck and I didn't quite figure out on my own the other things that I do well. And my coach helped me peel back those layers and understand, yes, I'm a musician and yes, I sing, I also communicate well. I speak well. I am someone who enjoys writing. And those were gifts because it helped me understand the other strengths that I had and how I might put them into practice in a career. So the biggest learning for me was don't be afraid about asking for help.
Mm, that's amazing. I want to dive deep into your story more. But before I go now, you are a coach and you do what you do. But why do you do what you do now?
Yeah, again, it's back to I don't think anyone needs to suffer in their career. Now let me be really clear. I've been in moments in my life where maybe I've worked 2 and 3 jobs around the clock because I needed to earn the money and I needed to support my family and, feel good about that. They were jobs, they weren't necessarily the career. But I would tell you, I'm at a point now where I want to focus on things that I do really well that bring me meaning and purpose, and I think sometimes we need to stop and think about what really gratifies us. And we always have choices, we always have agency. And I am now at a point in my life, and I try to empower others to think you need and you deserve to think about what fills your cup, what's really meaningful and powerful to you, and finding something that honors your values, your interests, your personality, and your strengths.
And is that what fills your cup?
Yes, for me, it's helping people. There's no doubt about it. I'm someone who has always enjoyed uplifting others, helping them find what they do really well. I'm still a performer. So the way that I perform now is public speaking, speaking around the world at conferences and events. And it feeds my love of being on stage, being with people and sharing a message. I say I'm singing a different tune, but it's also important because I have these wonderful audiences, just like we do today, who are listening. And I think you and I share this mission of helping others and helping others live their best lives.
Yeah. Hey, the question I have along the same line, Caroline, the transition from you being coached
Yeah.
and you coaching other people. When did you realize that that's what you gives you
Yeah.
meaning and helps? And how did you get into
Yeah.
then starting to coach other people? And how was that journey like? And what challenges did you face doing so?
Yeah, it's such a good question. Ever since I was a little girl, I've been in that person that people would come to for advice. Like, what do you think
Mm,
about this? Or what would you do in this situation? So I knew that that was part of my DNA. And coaching is a profession. And I went through coach training and coach certification. So I knew I liked the idea of helping people and advising people. But coaching is not about telling someone what to do. It's not about me saying, Harry, you should do this, right? That's an advisor, that's a mentor. Coaching is asking those probing questions so the individual can come up with the response on their own. I'm a guide and I walk alongside them in that journey of helping them discover themselves and figure out what they would like to do. So I would tell you that that was a growth opportunity. Going through coach training, going through that certification really helped me become a certified executive coach and understand what
mm,
that profession was all about, not just someone who was giving friendly advice.
mm. That's awesome. Where are you going with your vision, Caroline?
Yeah. It's so interesting because Harry, for decades, for 20 years, after I left my singing career, I worked in higher education and very large nonprofits. And I was leading teams and I rose to the ranks of a vice president. So I was in executive leadership roles. And I always had my coaching as a side hustle, something that I did on my own time. And in 2022, post pandemic, I really looked in the mirror and said, this is what I love. I love the speaking and the coaching and the consulting. Why not make that side hustle a full time hustle? And it
Hmm.
took a lot of courage because it's a risk, being your own entrepreneur and being a small business owner. But it was the best decision I ever made. And I am blissfully happy and so grateful to have a successful business.
That's amazing. Successful business. I want to get into that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
What what did you, as a business owner, uh what challenges did you face? What held you back during those times? And what
Mhm.
lessons did you learn?
So I think in the beginning, because as I said, I've been side hustling for over a decade. And I knew that I loved that work, but there was this fear of, can I make the money? And my healthcare comes from my company. My retirement comes from my company. So it was getting over that hurdle and realizing I can buy healthcare, I can feed my own retirement account, and I can cultivate my own business. So it was really getting out of my way and
Uh-huh.
letting go of the fear and surrendering and betting on myself. I remember when I told my accountant, I said, I'm opening up my own business. And he said, good for you. Always bet on yourself. And he was right.
Wow. Too many of us do not bet on ourselves fast enough
Yes.
and with diligence needed to do so. You said you side hustled for 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but
Did
it was
you
it was great, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but it was beautiful because it helped me build a foundation. It helped me hone my craft, and I built a community. I built a network. I wrote 2 books during that time. So the beauty was I was building relationships and building this foundation for my business. So when I officially opened as a full-time business, there were people out there who knew me, who trusted me, and had been working with me. So it was actually a lovely way to build it. And I want to share one more thing that I think is really relevant, Harry. I've embraced failure. You know, admittedly, my first musical career in black and white is a failure only because I didn't do it for my whole life, right? I stepped off and said, okay, this isn't really honoring where I am and what I want to do. So I had many successes, but in the true sense, I left that career. And I've destigmatized failure as an opportunity to learn. And I'm not afraid to fail. I will continue to fail. And that's okay because I'm learning from it. I'm growing, I'm innovating, and I'm getting better.
Yeah, that's amazing. So during those 10 years, did you make any money with coaching at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, it was what I would say an augmentation of my salary from the companies that I worked at. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I was side hustling in that it wasn't my full-time role, but I was earning money. Yeah. And I was learning my craft and I was learning how to market and brand and develop. You know, I think creating, I don't think I know, creating your own business is intense and it takes time and it's an investment. So those 10 years were actually the investment in the foundation of my business.
I want to deep. Oh, I it's what you shared is such a golden nugget for people. We live in a hustle culture where they want everything now. In the next 2 3 months, I want this now. I want to be rich now. I want to achieve this now. And no one thinks about the long term play.
Yep.
And like the 10-year mark that you just mentioned is, I think, a very very good point for a lot of people, where your craft needs to sharpen your if you need to switch a lot of things out. What
Yeah.
you're trying to sell necessarily not what people want. You
Yeah.
figure out what your audience wants. You figure out what you need to change to speak to them. There's so many nuances
Yes.
in just the sales side, the operation side, the marketing side, everything that coming together. In at the
Yeah.
same time, you're working on your brain, you're
Yeah.
working on coaching yourself. That
I
Yeah, like it's
I
a big.
totally agree. You and I were chatting before the show started, and you were very gracious and said that you like my website. That was an evolution, right? I've had 3 websites before that, but I love this one, and
Yeah,
I tweak it and update it. In fact, it's got some new elements now that are very new as of this week because we need to constantly evolve. When our businesses or even a role in an organization gets dusty and stagnates, we lose the energy, we lose the drive. And I think it's important for your listeners to know that we each have the power within us to make those changes and refresh and reboot.
that is absolutely true, and I couldn't agree more. Um, it's fascinating to me when I actually see people who see their path for a really really long time. Would
Mhm.
you say, Caroline, that this is your legacy that you want to leave?
Absolutely. You know, I am confident that my career will continue to evolve and iterate, and I may speak about different things, but I have found my niche in that I know that empowering people on their career journey is where I'm supposed to be.
That's
And
amazing.
that is such a gift to have been able to find that. and to find joy in doing that.
That's amazing. I have one more question for today's segment, Caroline,
Sure.
and that is, what is your goal for being on the show today?
Yeah, my goal is to help people understand you always have choices. And if you get stuck, that's normal. Don't be shy about asking for help. Sure, you can reach out to a coach, but reach out to a friend or a family member or a mentor first and warm up and see what kinds of questions you can ask. And don't ever feel like you don't have options. Everybody has options. And the most important thing, it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a Vision Pro yourself.